Over the course of the last couple months at my brokerage, we have been doing business planning. I kind of want to talk a little bit today about what that ought to look like and maybe a couple things that it doesn't need to have. My name is Chance Brown, I'm the broker owner of CB&A Realtors, and I make video content for real estate agents because I'm passionate about helping them build great businesses. And having a great business plan is part of that. I think a lot of times we go through the motions with a business plan and we do it because the brokerage is holding an event, we feel like we need to do it, or our coach told us to. And over the course of the past decade at our brokerage, we've done multiple variations of business planning, from really simple workbook style thing to paid business planning sessions with outside sources. This year, we're kind of getting back to some of the basics that help us connect with people. There are things that you need in a business plan. I think there are things that you don't need in a business plan. At the end of the day, however, if you're not going to follow it, don't bother doing it. It's just a waste of your time. So if you're serious about business planning, here's what I'd love to see. First things first is why. And this is a deeper connection than a dollar amount. It's a deeper connection than I like to help people, or I like to be around people when they're making this decision and guide them through it, or whatever it is. It really needs to be very deeply personal. Like, I will share with you that I have a goal of a certain dollar amount of income, but my baseline reason for that goal is that I never want to have to tell my children no because I can't. Now, I tell them no all the time, don't get me wrong, but I don't want them to ever miss out on an opportunity because I can't afford to do it with them or send them on it or whatever that is. So it needs to be your deeply personal why that drives your business plan, because the next thing I think you need to have is a dollar goal, because that why needs to be funded. And there was a time when I did my business plan and I said, hey, I want to help 50 people or 100 people or whatever it was. That was it. But here's the problem with that. What if all of those people buy really cheap houses and you don't have enough money? Then great, you made your goal, but you can't fund your why. We had a misconnection there, right? So I think that what you need to do is have a dollar volume goal after taxes of what your income is going to look like. And then let's reverse engineer that to get to number of transactions, to get to number of contracts, to get to number of appointments, to get to number of contacts, and so on and so forth, until we get down to here are the daily activities that I need to do every day to reach my goal. Simple as that. And it's not that hard, but it needs to start with a dollar, not with a number of transactions. And then the last but not least piece of the puzzle is the accountability piece that I think you have to have there, whether that's through a coach, whether it's through an accountability partner, whether it's through a tracking vehicle. It doesn't really matter, but you need to have somebody holding your feet to the fire on doing those activities that get you to the place that you need to be. Last thing on my business planning do's is I think you need to have something visual. You know, in the past, like I said, we've done these workbooks, we've done these worksheets, we've done all of these things. And what tends to happen is somebody throws it on their desk, it gets covered by other paper, or they toss it in a drawer thinking that they're going to pull it back out. We're doing workbooks, but then we're giving our agents a much larger piece of paper that they can hang up on the wall that's almost vision boardy when it comes to their business plan, but it lets them see all of those goals and track them month by month and put their dollar volume goal and why their dollar volume goal is important up in front of their face so that they see it every day. Because what we focus on expands, and what we focus on is the things that are going to make us productive and hit that vision board goal. And so I think you need to have something visual, not something that's just on a spreadsheet or in a drawer or whatever it is to remind you of that. Now, let me tell you the things I don't think you need, because there are a couple of those also. I don't think you need drawn out like 25, 30-page booklets of stuff. I think you need to try to keep it simple, because if you get too complicated with it, you start getting into rebuilding your entire business and this and that, and it gets to be too much. Like, our goal is X, here are the number of calls we need to make. That's going to help us reach X. And so that, I think, is the way to go, is much more simple and focused on the big things that we have to accomplish. The next thing I don't think you need to have is some online tool to track it or anything else. I think, again, putting it visually in front of you so that you see it all the time is really, really important. Not relying on a piece of technology to do it that you may or may not look at but once a month. And so that's really important to me also, is that I'm actually seeing the stuff and checking a box, even if it's a printed piece of paper right in front of me on a weekly basis or whatever. That works for me. I use my trusty Remarkable, and I've got my tracking built into this. And every week has its own sheet of paper for it. And last but not least, What I think you don't need in a business plan is other people's input. This is your business plan. It's your why. And if other people are forcing things into your business plan so that you don't take ownership of it, it's a waste of time. You have to believe that you can get the things in your business plan to actually happen. And that's a personal thing. That's a choice that you make. Those are goals that are meaningful to you and that you have to go after. So if it's not something that you believe in, just don't even bother. It's a waste. That being said, I think that it's smart to create a business plan. I think that it's smart to, on a monthly or quarterly basis, review that business plan to see where you are and what adjustments you need to make. I think it's important to share that business plan with other people, whether that's friends or spouse or family members or business coach or broker. I think it's important to share that stuff with other people because the more public you make it, the more pressure you put on yourself to perform. I hope that helps. I hope that you have a great new year because your business plan is going to kick ass, and so are you.